Are you looking to build in Uganda? Here is a step-by-step guide that you can follow. So, in the first initial stage, of course, the client will approach the architect or whoever is going to take lead in the project, let's say a project manager. And the first thing that we'll have to do is, of course, have a site visit. When you have a site visit, the architect will go with a surveyor so that you can open boundaries and confirm that the measurements of the site are equivalent to the ones that are on the land title. From here, the architect will go back to the office, draft an architectural plan. Of course, this is done by an architect. The other requirement is a structural plan done by a structural engineer, and this usually shows the columns and beams that are on the floors above. So if you have floors above the ground level, that's why you're required to make a structural plan. If it's only one level, which is a bungalow, you only need your architectural plan. After this, you move on to your M&E plan, which is basically a mechanical plan, which entails the electrical, plumbing, lighting plan, drainage plan, HVAC systems, which is basically the ACs, if you have any, which is basically air ventilation systems. And then you also have your firefighting system plan. Yes. So after all of this, then you move on to the next phase. So all these requirements were in the planning phase, which is basically your documentations. With this, you get a letter from the architect that will be taken to your council. From the council, you have a list of requirements that is usually given by the council. Some of them are, you will need a land title, you will need your national ID, you will also need your survey report, which we initially did in the first stage, if you remember. So that's where the survey report comes in. You will also need a recommendation letter from your LC1 chairman. With all of this, the last thing in this group would be a supervision agreement. So these are just some of the requirements that you'll go with alongside with your plans to the council. And from the council, you'll be given your council fees. Alongside the council fees, you also have the fees that are for the government, basically. So in order to get your estimate for the amount of money that you're going to pay to the government, which is basically the URA, you will be given a PRN code. But in order to get this estimate, you'll be able to visit the National Building Review Board. Here, you get your estimated amount, or should I say exact amount, that you will need to pay to the government alongside your council fees. So that phase is done. With this, the council, of course, will review your documents, make sure it's within the standards and the codes, the building codes of Uganda. And the last part that will come in basically will be our construction phase. So the construction phase, the client will assign or make contracts with a contractor that they have chosen. And with this, you're able to start your construction because you have all the requirements, of course, by the council. When you're going to start, you can just notify the council so that they are aware, and you have your plans that are already approved and stamped by the government. Here, you have no issues or problems that you face along your journey of construction, and you can happily build your beautiful house or structure. For further guidance on need of these services we mentioned, reach out to Peak Spaces Limited.